actually in the screen?
Yep, you're right in the bullseye middle. And it's recording. I don't like it.
Why?
Because you're not smiling or anything.
Well, I'm not ready to shoot yet. Hey there everyone, FG again. So, in the interest of trying to be a little more thorough here, I've had people ask for particular videos on some of the modifications that I've done. A lot of those were detailed in the walk around, which has now generated just about 10,000 views, which honestly I thought was really going to be one of the least viewed videos. So I guess you really never know on YouTube or anything like that, you know, what's going to grab people's attention. So anyway, here we are, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the transmission cooling, which is located directly in front of the radiator and the air conditioning condenser. So this is the factory cooler, which if you've ever had your grill out, you know is right here, and Nissan installed that. And what I did here is went ahead and got a fan, which has now been in for several years, so you can see it's starting to get a little rusty along here. And I'm going to apologize if this video, the lighting is changing a little bit. It looks like my camera, I think, is getting a little confused as far as what it wants to do. So if your screen is popping a little brighter and a little darker from time to time, apologies for that. Anyway, so here is the wiring view, and you can, oh brother, yeah, okay, yeah, this really is changing colors. Sorry about that. Like I said, apologies in advance. Here is the connector that I added, which is a 4-pin, excuse me, not a 4-pin, 5-pin, and that's running all the power up through here to everything. And over here, I come back on this side. Okay, so this is an adjustable thermostat, this guy right here. And so how this is set up is this is actually sending a ground signal over to the control relay to turn the fan on and off. So if I put a screwdriver right through the middle of the Nissan emblem, burger, whatever you'd like to call it, right through the middle of here, I can turn this from the outside without having to remove the grill, which is pretty nice if I want to reset the temperature that it clicks on. And this stainless steel loopy guy here, this coil, is actually the temperature probe, and it's probably not the greatest. I'd love to have something that would sense the fluid temperature directly, but this is just pushed in through the fins here, and so therefore is basically sensing whatever's happening at the fin level. And these types of fans really are most effective at slow vehicle speeds anyway. So airflow, creating an artificial cooling across the fins is probably not going to be much of an issue because you wouldn't have very much ram air going on at that point. So basically I just mounted the fan onto here. It came with these push-through type plastic spears and these rubber blocks so that it doesn't put undue stress directly onto the tubes themselves. So you can see this basically a little bit of cushioning here. And this cooler actually has a thermostat built in, so when the transmission is not very hot, the coolant is bypassing the core, coming through here from the one fitting and just dropping straight back to the other fitting, and then going back through the hoses and tubing back to the transmission. So if you have a transmission temperature gauge installed, I've noticed on a couple of occasions that when the transmission temperature got to around 205, 210-ish, that it would suddenly drop 30 degrees. And that was when the thermostat in this cooler opened and went ahead and started cooling on its own, and therefore obviously dropped the temperature down. Since I had the grill here pulled out for another project, I thought I'd go ahead and make this video just to show people what I'd done here. And so here's a little bit more of an oblique angle view. There you go. And so that's really pretty much it. It's not super complicated or super fancy. This actually has two relays. One relay, like I mentioned, is connected to the sensor over here. The other relay is positive controlled and full-time grounded, and that is controlled by one of these switches in the overhead console, which I think I had detailed in the walk around, and I'm going to be probably doing a separate video for that sometime in the future, so I will give you a view of all the wiring in there too. That turned out to be rather complicated. There's a whole bunch of little connections in a very small space, so that was kind of exciting. And if I just pan over here for a second, here is the wiring for the front end lights for the light bars, and so you can see here that I put quick disconnects, weather pack type connectors on all the wiring, so that if everything ever needs servicing, it's very easy to uninstall and reinstall without having to do a whole bunch of cutting and soldering and all sorts of neat things like that. So that is pretty much it. Another quick view of the fan here, and like I said, not exactly rocket science, pretty simple really, but if you do find yourself in a situation where you're moving at a very low speed at very high loads, climbing a hill on a mountain or something of that nature, you'll find that the cooler will kick on. I've had that do that a couple of times, and like I'd mentioned, when the thermostat opens, you'll notice a big drop. So that's pretty much it for today, and hope everybody is kind of hunkered down here for the winter, at least in the northern hemisphere. For those of us up on the further end, you know, all you down in Nevada and Utah and Texas and all are probably still getting some pretty nice decent temperature, but it's getting cold out here, so probably won't be a whole lot going on until spring, but I'm definitely looking forward to the wheeling season for 2021. So y'all be safe, and take her out and get her muddy.